Hello. I think it's working now. Hello, Adam Taxin here in Little Hickory Island in Bonita Springs, Florida, Lee County on the western side. Pretty obvious it's the western side because the sun is setting now. It doesn't work too well when you're on the ocean, on the Atlantic Ocean side. And this is my fourth try doing something like this, and it seems like Mother Nature actually is cooperating this time. It didn't go so well. I tried this, really didn't go the first time I tried this last week with the sunset on Lake Okeechobee. It started raining, in fact, beyond not even showing the sun. I hope the sound is okay. I don't know. I can't even read the comments. I'm doing this all by myself, in part to prove the point. I also tried this from Lauderdale by the Sea a few days ago, and then this morning at Miami Beach. Perfectly nice days, nice time to be out at the beach, but clouds covered it. We didn't have a real sunrise. Unless something really unexpected happens, I don't think that will be the case. I think you all, at least, will be able to watch a beautiful sunset. I'll have to peek over my head. I'm doing this in part because I have a lot of strong feelings. I've been working in media, political stuff, etc., and really being able to be part of the new way in which information is provided. It's not that new, but what's new is how people are utilizing the technology, I guess. And there's a lot out there, as I've mentioned before. Again, I don't even know if the sound's even working. I'm trying to do this without a microphone. Maybe too loud with the Gulf of Mexico in the background. I don't know. It's usually a little calmer than this, I would think. But, you know, there's so much technology. Everyone wants to host their own, not everyone, but a lot of people want to host their own show. There's so much information out there. So I'm trying to do something a little different. I'm trying to make the effort to, one, give you something to look at. And I'm not just talking about my diet. I'm trying to lose 15, 20 pounds, so at least I'll be a little bit better to look at. But really to give you something visual. It's not a quote show because you put your name on something and then you sit in front of your computer and talk for 40 minutes going on ad nauseum without really editing what you say. And the second thing I'm trying to do is I do have a lot of original thoughts, but I'm not going to really focus on bringing you what's on my mind as if I'm descending from the heavens to enlighten you with my wisdom. I'm trying to cull the best information that I see out there through social media, through real journalism, which is actually being done out there today. But you have to look harder and harder for it. You've heard about the fake news, etc. And I'm really trying to see myself more as an editor rather than an original thinker, rather as a clever, funny guy. I'm simply trying to do my homework, editing before I come to you. And with that in mind, let me tell you, it's about 6 minutes until the sun actually sets. This is my version of a teleprompter. I will eventually get sunglasses, so it won't look like I'm looking down at this, but this is all still trying to get the technical kinks out here. And one thing that did come out today is there is some real journalism being done, and I want to credit a guy named Charles Johnson at gotnews.com. And by the way, I'm going to stick with you after the sunset because obviously after the sunset we have twilight for a little while. It's actually a very good time to appear. The picture is very good during that, so I don't have to really get up for about 20 minutes after that. I don't know how long I'm going to go, but it doesn't get dark obviously for another 30 minutes after that. But today in Got News, a very good article was done, and it's about who the leaker is within the White House, and give credit to Charles Johnson, who runs Got News, for being the person who found this. I'm going to read it to you, not pretending like this is my own information, not pretending like a lot of websites do that get a lot of clicks on Facebook that, you know, I'm going to put some strongly opinionated title and a paragraph in there at first and then completely quote the article. I am quoting Got News for you here, and when I interject something of my own, I will use my own voice. And I'm just, yeah, we have a really good sunset going on. Enjoy it. Okay, this is the article. The lead at gotnews.com, and I'm going to read from you now, not passing this off as interesting as my own information. White House Deputy Chief of Staff and Never Trump Republican Katie Walsh has been identified as the source behind a bunch of leaks from the Trump administration to the New York Times and other media outlets. According to multiple sources in the White House, media, donor community, and pro-Trump pro-Trump 501c4 political group. Meaning he's gotten this from a few sources there. Everyone knows not to talk to her in the White House unless you want to see it in the press, says a source close to the president. Quoting, going on, the only question is whether or not she's doing it at the behest of White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus, or if she's doing it to advance herself in D.C. media circles. One source in particular stands out. Walsh is close to Maggie Haberman, a New York Times reporter who wrote haunting pro-Republican National Committee stories during the presidential election. Walsh has also planted stories in the Washington Post and Politico. Walsh is referred to as, quote, Madame President in the White House as a senior aide. Goes on to say, it isn't a compliment. You won't hear this stuff from the lying mainstream media. Keep the Got News mission alive. Okay, it's something for donations there. If you want to donate to Got News, it's gotnews.com/donate. Okay, going back to the story though, I like the way he sticks that in there in the middle. Walsh would have significant access as she controls the president's schedule. There is also reportedly a trove of emails where Katie Walsh and Reince Priebus discuss how to rid themselves of Trump, according to a former Never Trump consultant. Now, these are strong words. Probably need to be verified some more. Not my opinion. I'm just telling you what Got News is providing. Here's another quote. The president and his allies have been deliberately feeding her fake information to him. Well done. In order to find her network, says a source close to the president's family, it's been going well. Walsh was a Never Trump Republican during the campaign. Neither Walsh nor her family were supporters during the campaign, says a source from Walsh's hometown of St. Louis. A White House investigation is planned into Walsh, who couldn't be reached for comment. Couldn't credit for trying. I don't think she would respond to this. And then he finishes with, stay tuned for more. Now, I originally found this information. Again, I really want to give credit here. This was through the Gateway Pundit. And Lucian Wintrich, who is their White House correspondent. Gateway Pundit, which is Jim Hoff, is new. He's one of the media outlets that did get White House credentials. RSPN, where I used to work, did not get his White House credentials. But Lucian Wintrich did, and he's the one who wrote this. And it's pretty much the same, I want to add something from the Gateway Pundit article. When the Gateway Pundit reached out to Got News founder Charles Johnson for comment on the story, he said that it was, these are strong words, 100% reliable. I'm unwilling to reveal the primary White House sources, but Walsh was behind the leaks. And there goes the sun. Yep. Right on time. Usually is. Okay, then it's just from the article, and he puts in an important update there, that Maggie Haberman, who is being investigated for collusion with Kate Walsh, she was previously exposed in the Podesta email links. Now, there are always some fun comments on these kinds of things, so let me read you some of the comments that were on the Got News story. Again, go to gotnews.com. I'm here providing you some useful information as you look at a sunset, which is now dusk. But let me read you some comments. And with comments, you post it on a site, it's not anonymous anymore, so I can mention your name. I think that's a fair rule there. But this is from Terry Davis Newman. Priebus has been a scumbag mole from the get-go and is going to get canned right along with Katie, and both of them are now looking at felony charges. We'll see about that. Susan B. Edge Morgado. I wouldn't trust Priebus. He looks like a devious soul. Okay, an opinion. Someone else writes, I recall that Priebus was initially a Never Trump guy. He was quoted as guaranteeing that Trump would not win the primary up in New York. I don't recall the exact quote, but it sounded like he was saying the fix was in. I think after his quote came out, he had to back off. So I was surprised when he became part of the Trump team. So that, someone responds, be quiet. Reince has been a low-life snake from the beginning. When he gets his, I'm going to celebrate. Now, I'm just showing him there's going to be a difference of opinion later in these comments. I went through them beforehand. There's a lot of anti-Reince Priebus feeling out there. Probably a lot of people were caught off guard that Trump selected him for his team. William Campbell writes, if this is true, she needs to go to prison for a long time, and it needs to be soon. Trump must make an example of her traitorous acts as something that will not be tolerated. This is a violation of the law and cannot be permitted. Anyone that conspired with her should go also. Ronan Dex, probably a fake name. I hope she goes to prison. She deserves it. Bureaucrats are in a fight against the people for control of this country. They have undermined the result of the election at every turn. That's treasonous behavior, yet the mainstream media will not report it. Then the mainstream media is outraged because they are labeled fake news. Co-case Blessed Patriot writes, what I see in common with many of these stories is Priebus. I hope they're wrong in this, but with Reince being buddies with Paul Ryan, I've never felt comfortable with him. Then Jaded adds to that, me either. It was like Trump was giving him the chance to make good, but politically I thought it was a mistake. Someone writes to that, but sir, you knew it was a mistake. But here's a difference of opinion now. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Puhuyawa? The thing is, Priebus was not a snake. He has an excellent reputation for fairness. Now, none of these are verified. I haven't verified them. I'm just giving you the opinions out there. And then Euclid agrees with Puhuyawa. It says, I agree, Priebus is not in on this. Let's go through now the Gateway Pundit. I know Jim Hoff. I want to just give you a summary from most recent to least recent. Really just read you the headlines from the Gateway Pundit, which you can find at thegatewaypundit.com from this morning. The most recent one is Obama appointed FEC commissioner behind internet censorship is forced to resign. And it has a subheadline there that FEC commissioner wanted to shut down the Drudge Report. That was a few months ago. This is about a woman named Ann Revelle who is apparently not showing up at FEC meetings. So that's good that she's forced to resign. Wow. Chelsea Clinton. She was in the news a few days ago, like using words like sickening and horrifying. Talk about the so-called travel ban on Muslims from the 7 countries. You know about that by now. Chelsea Clinton seems to be wanting to carry on the Clinton torch, be the legacy. Great headline, I think, from yesterday in which Bonita Broderick responded to her talking about sickening about Bill Clinton, who raped her. So that was in yesterday. I think it was in the Gateway Pundit. But meanwhile, today it was reported that Chelsea Clinton joins the anti-Trump I am a Muslim too protest in New York. And that includes photo and video at the Gateway Pundit. And, what's her name? Susan Sarandon is still trying to be relevant. She's posing with Linda Sansour, or whatever her name is, who was so behind the women's anti-Trump march, who is a Sharia apologist, who's very into the so-called Palestinians. This is who's exploiting the whole women's thing. Well, they deserve each other as far as I'm concerned. That's another headline. I already read you a lot about report, White House Deputy Chief of Staff, and never Trumper source of leaks going on. And he's in the news a lot today. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm not a fan of him. I voted for him in 2008, but really not happy with John McCain. But the headline is Rand Paul, and he said this on the ABC Sunday Morning program. He said, we're very lucky Trump is in charge and not McCain. I enjoy calling McCain McVain or McCNN. We'll get more. There's another headline about him later. Meanwhile, another headline, leftists triggered and outraged after Melania Trump recites Lord's Prayer at Florida rally. He's talking about the rally in Melbourne, Florida, yesterday afternoon. Meanwhile, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos gets beefed up security following assault and threats by violent leftists. That was another Arab involved in that one. The incident in Washington, D.C., which happened a few days ago. Meanwhile, John McCain went to Germany. Here's the headline. John McCain blasts Trump. Dictators get started by suppressing the free press. Holier than thou. Well, we got a nice dust going on. Meanwhile, the earliest headline from today on the Gateway Pundit, and it's easy to be ironic with this one, Chancellor Merkel. Germany always has good respect between government and media. Needless to say, yeah, especially during that 1932, 1933 to 1945 period. Now, another thing I want to do is there's so much information coming at you out there, and that means there's a lot of information that's probably not as worth your time as a lot of information coming out there. So I want to do my best to give you information that I think would be worthwhile to you to see, to read. I'm not publishing it. It's via a Facebook post in this case, but there's someone I know who's very brilliant, who writes great stuff on Facebook. I'm not going to mention him. He works for a big law firm. You know, it's for friends and friends of friends. But I think it's okay if I go with this. I'm going to just read you. You know, we haven't been hearing the name as much the last few weeks since he was announced, Neil Gorsuch, but it will be a nomination hearing soon. And I thought what he wrote was brilliant, and especially his point 5. So from this friend of mine, whom I know from law school, here is your guide to Supreme Court nomination fights. And I really hope you can hear me. I hope the visuals are okay. I'm guessing the visuals are okay. My legs probably appear too much in this for it to be worthwhile. But I'm going to put this on YouTube. I'm going to crop the picture a little bit. I'm still getting the hang of this technically, etc. But I'm really committed to it. So here is your guide to Supreme Court nomination fights. And he writes, I have some professional experience in this area. 1. Again, not me, from a brilliant guy I know from law school. 1. Democrats apply a simple litmus test. They will oppose any nominee who does not believe that abortion is a constitutional right. What matters to Democrats is the result. As long as a constitutional right to abortion is found, they don't really care how the judge gets there. Many are explicit about this. The rest will pretend to talk about respecting, quote, precedent. There is only one precedent they care about. And I'm going to get to number 2 in a second. But I really want your comments on here, how it's going sound-wise, technically, but also I want you to discuss the things I'm talking about in there. I really do read the comments section here. I'd love to use this as a forum for some chat and discussion about these things. Okay, continuing with your guide to Supreme Court nomination fights. Republicans apply a more complicated litmus test. They want a nominee who will apply the law as written, regardless of the result. If you happen to be one of those Republicans who cares about abortion more than any other issue, this is as good as having a litmus test based on abortion, because nobody who applies the law as written could possibly find a constitutional right to abortion. The Constitution says as much about abortion as it says about the moon landing. 3. Republicans and Democrats will throw food at each other for several weeks, and virtually nobody will admit that the only reason they are fighting about anything is abortion. If it were not for abortion, Supreme Court confirmation hearings would attract only slightly more attention than budget reconciliation meetings. 4. Nominees are not allowed to say how they would rule in any actual or hypothetical case. Therefore, they cannot say whether they think abortion is a constitutional right. This is inconvenient for Democrats because it is the only thing they care about. See above regarding litmus test. They will spend the entire process coming up with 10,000 ways to ask about abortion without asking about abortion. See above regarding precedent. When they do not receive an answer that gives them the commitment they're looking for, they will assume, justifiably, that the nominee cannot perceive any constitutional right to abortion. See above regarding moon landing. This will require them to come up with some other pretext for filibustering the nominee. So, they will just call him a racist. 5. Now this is a great point that goes well beyond this essay. I think this is the best part of all of what I'm reading to you now. 5. Theodore Dalrymple writes, this is, again, such a great point that applies to so much. Again, 5. Theodore Dalrymple wrote, in my study of communist societies, I came to the conclusion that the purpose of communist propaganda was not to persuade or convince, not to inform, but to humiliate. And therefore, the less it corresponded to reality, the better. When people are forced to remain silent, when they are being told the most obvious lies, or even worse, when they are forced to repeat the lies themselves, they lose once and for all their sense of probity. To assent to obvious lies is in some small way to become evil oneself. One standing to resist anything is thus eroded and even destroyed. A society of emasculated liars is easy to control. I think if you examine political correctness, it has the same effect and is intended to. That's the end of the quote. This is the rubric through which to view questions on abortion posed to court nominees. To comply with the rules of the game, nominees must profess not to have prejudged the issue of whether James Madison inserted an absolute right to abortion into the Constitution. Everybody knows this is a lie. Nobody has failed to reach an opinion on the issue. By forcing nominees to lie in order to win confirmation, the Senate aims to emasculate and thereby to control them. 6. Insofar as there is any Democrat line of attack not directly related to 1. Abortion, or 2. Calling the nominee a racist, we will rest on the theory that there is some inherent impropriety to President Trump's nominating his choice to the court, given the Senate's successful obstruction of the Garland nomination. This is the shibboleth that will tell you that the person raising the objection has no idea what they are talking about. It is nothing more than an opportunistic partisan hack. This ignorance is unsurprisingly on full display in the New York Times editorial, written in that inimitable New York Times style of posturing towards intellectualism, while making statements of such breathtaking dishonesty that it actually functions as an insult to the reader's intellect. The Times calls Gorsuch the nominee for a stolen seat and asserts that the Senate abused its power by failing to confirm Garland, among other howlers. The word abused in this context simply means used. The Constitution says that the President may appoint judges with the consent of the Senate. Garland failed to obtain the consent of the Senate. This is not an abuse of the Senate's power any more than it is an abuse for it not to enact a bill. If the Senate had some kind of obligation to approve everything presented to it, we wouldn't need a Senate. This is stuff they used to teach in 2nd grade. Oh, I wish this happened. A great view of pelicans right there. You know, I am going to conclude the informative part of this and give you a quick view of what's going on the beach. I appreciate you're watching this pre-sunset, sunset, and now dusk report. It's really beautiful out here in Little Hickory Park on the beach in Bonita Springs, Florida, Lee County on the Gulf of Mexico. I appreciate your watching. I really appreciate your commenting, giving me tips. It can even be a private message, but I'm committed to doing these sunrise and sunset reports, and maybe a midday report, which can be more comprehensive because I don't have the lighting issues in the middle of the day. But I'm really trying to not take advantage, but exploit the opportunities that the changes in the media and the technology. Again, Facebook Live basically didn't even exist a year ago. So I'm trying to do this to do something constructive and provide you worthwhile information while giving you something nice to look at. So this is Adam Taxin. I'm going to close. I'm going to grab the iPhone 6. It's amazing what you can do with just an iPhone 6 and give you a little view of 360 view of what's around here. Thanks for watching. Feel free to wave to the camera. How y'all doing? Yeah, I've been recording something. If you want to say hi, you can. I have an audience. What's your name?
Some watermelon?
Oh, I'm not hungry. I only eat watermelon. Who are you all? Are you on vacation or visiting?
No, we work at Echo Farm in North Fort Myers.
What's Echo Farm?
It's a sustainable agricultural.
Oh wow, really?
Farm. Yeah, and we're all planning to go into international ag development work.
Do you mind answering any questions about that?
Sure. What's this for?
I do a Facebook Live thing. I do a sunset report every day.
Oh.
I don't know who you are, but I was actually at the market, at an organic market in Hollywood, Florida this morning.
Oh, nice.
Josh's Organic Garden. Mm-hmm. What kind of things are you growing this season?
Well, we have all kinds of tropical fruits. We have your classics like kales and Swiss chards and lettuces.
Did they grow it here in Southwest Florida, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe like, I don't know how many miles away, 30 miles away.
Okay. Are you all in school, or?
We're all done with college.
Okay, so it's all about sustainable farming now. So that's an organic watermelon, I guess?
We didn't grow this one.
Yeah, it's not the season for watermelon. You can grow a lot in Florida, but not February.
Yeah, but
so,
we have like avocados and papayas and...
You can grow papayas here, no kidding.
Oh yeah.
Can you grow mangoes?
Yeah.
In Southwest Florida?
We have a ton of mango trees on our farm.
And are they giving fruit right now, though?
No.
Okay.
They're producing in July and August.
Okay, so it's organic? Or not?
Mostly.
It's sustainable?
Yeah,
So that,
sustainable.
what does that mean for people who know nothing about this? Like,
I would say where you have fewer inputs that go into producing what you're growing, and you learn how to do soil care and restoration with all of the microorganisms in the soil, and you learn how to feed those and care for them properly so that what you're growing can also be.
does that mean you rotate the crops every year, or just is it every couple years?
We rotate them through seasons.
Through seasons?
Yeah, pretty often.
So tell me about a piece of land you may have in, you can bring any of your friends over if they want to come.
You can come over if
Okay,
you want.
I'll do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't want to lose the audience here. So what, okay, a piece of land, what do you grow on one piece over the course of a year?
All kinds of grains and sorghum, quinoa, probably things you haven't heard of before.
Well then,
Malabar chestnuts,
chestnuts?
Yep.
Okay, wait, what is sorghum? I've heard that. I know about quinoa, which isn't technically a grain, right?
A peanut?
Quinoa isn't technically a grain, or is it? It's like in a different family?
I believe it's in a different family.
Yeah, okay. Who wants to talk to a Facebook Live about, I was just doing this and I was just doing a 360, she waved, about like sustainable agriculture. What? Isn't that what you all do? Yeah. No, I am now, because I have an audience that I was just doing a 360 and she just started talking about it, but I'd love to learn more about it, or like the kind of things you grow here in Lee County. Okay, I'll come over here because we have sound issues. The Gulf's being a little loud tonight. Hi, what's your
audience?
Just whoever happens to be watching. I do a report. I'm Adam Taxin. Just whoever does ignoramuses about sustainable agriculture. People who don't know much, but I got to work on the lighting here, by the way. It's a little. Actually, can I do it this way?
Yeah.
Come to think of it. What's your name?
Does anyone else want to come and join me? Alex? David? My name is Melissa. I am from Minnesota.
Oh, you came all the way from Minnesota.
Yeah, and so I don't know how much Eleni already told you about.
I didn't tell them where we're all from.
Oh no, but about what we do at Echo.
So this is here in Bonita, or is it Fort Myers area?
It's North Fort Myers. Yep.
Okay.
So in Fort Myers we have a demonstration farm where we simulate 8 different climates and model the different practices and plants you might find in those different areas. And then we also have regional impact centers around the world that do the same thing in their country or in their region. So we have one in East Africa, one in West Africa, and then Southeast Asia.
So what crops are good right now?
Right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's February. It's mid-February.
But so seasons here are a little bit backwards compared to up north. So right now is the growing season.
You can grow a lot, even in February.
Oh yeah. Right now we have a surplus of a lot of things. We have tomatoes, broccoli, cabbage, all sorts of greens, eggplant, just a lot of vegetables that we are growing right now.
What's the most unusual thing you're growing right now?
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of unusual things.
You ever go down to Robert is here in Homestead?
Yeah.
Oh, you know Robert is here. I did a video with him just a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay, yeah. We grow a lot of those same fruit on our farm
So
too.
you know what's the one? Mame, but black sapote.
Oh yeah.
The chocolate pudding fruit.
Black sapotes are in right now.
That is weird.
Yeah. It's really great. I mean,
it's good. It tastes like chocolate pudding. Google black sapote if you're watching at home.
Yeah. So all sorts of tropical fruits and things from all around the world. Right now, I don't know. What is something weird that someone's growing?
Besides black sapote, we already talked about that.
Jackfruit.
You got jackfruit this season?
What's something weird something unique that someone's growing?
Something new?
Wait, what?
Chaya, moringa.
What? I don't even heard of those. They don't have those at Robert is here.
Those are greens.
Chaya?
Yeah, chaya is a perennial green.
Spell that.
Chaya.
Okay.
And moringa, Moringa.
Thank you, because people are going to have to Google that. I am too.
Moringa is so incredibly healthy for you.
Moringa is
Yes.
better than like the best kind of spinach?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Way better.
Okay, because I'm getting older. I'm older than you, so that will be of use. Where do we get moringa besides your farm?
We just
Oh,
look
it
this
grows
up.
all over the place.
Oh, because you eat moringa.
Right.
Ah, now I know what I've been missing. So moringa, what's it like? Just a green? Is it bitter? Is it?
It's slightly bitter, spicy, but you can dry it out, make it a powder, put it, make green smoothies with it. You can cook it in stir fries, you can make salads with it. Basically anything you want to do with it, you can.
Okay, and something tells me you all eat very healthy. So if I
Try.
stir fry, do it with olive oil, I assume?
Sure.
Okay,
Or
what's
coconut oil.
coconut oil you are a fan of?
Yes.
Now, you get a lot of coconuts here on the street. I was visiting my parents in Bonita Springs last week, and all these coconuts are just sitting around. You all just gather them up, or are you sick of coconuts if you live
We
around here?
don't make our own coconut oil, unfortunately. We're not that cool yet. Where we're at, coconut trees tend to die during the winter.
Uh-huh.
So we struggle to keep coconut trees alive. So
We're
it's far
just
enough
above,
north.
yeah, just above the line of where if there's a hard freeze, they'll die.
Oh, but this
so-
winter's been mild, no?
Yeah, so the past 2 years it's been mild. We only have like one fruiting coconut tree right now, but we have a whole bunch that are growing. But
If you had a surplus of coconuts, one thing I've learned, it may be a myth, I think I saw this at foodbabe.com. She writes good stuff. She says that you want the young coconuts if you're going to have the coconut water rather than the old one. You want to just explain to the audience what's going on with that?
With young coconuts, they're still fresh and they're still growing, so there's still like water inside that. But once you get to the older coconuts, they've already started drying up. And a lot of times, it just depends on what kind of things you're going to be using for your coconut. So if you get a young coconut, then you get the water, but really soft meat for the coconut. And so then you don't usually save that for cooking or processing. You usually eat that in like a coconut drink or something like that. But if
For
you're
the
going
taste.
to cook with it
Yeah.
or have milk or anything, then you use the older ones because they've already become solid fruit and meat getting out inside of the shell.
Cool. So I heard that a lot of companies that sell coconut water will use the old coconuts and people won't know the difference, and they say, hey, it's
Bitter.
coconut water, but it's not, and then they just put some sugar in it and they say, oh, it's coconut water, but people aren't aware of the difference between coconut,
Yeah.
the different kinds. Anyone else have anything interesting about what you're all doing, nutrition, things that people would not know, things that people are not aware of that they should eat?
eat more vegetables.
Okay.
That's all.
Eat more vegetables.
That's all.
What's that? Rabbits?
Rabbits?
I'm not a rabbit eater, but we'll all...
Tried it?
Rabbit I have years ago, before I kept the more restrictive diet. Why rabbits? Do you grow your own rabbits there?
It's a real lean meat, and if you are living overseas or in a place where you don't have a refrigerator, you can have a meal of meat for your family in one sitting.
Do you guys do stuff with animals out there too, or just... Oh, you do? So do you actually grow rabbits out there?
Yeah, we raise them.
Yeah, I mean, you can... There's a high yield. I mean, there's a thing with reproducing like rabbits. One thing that always bothered me is when I see on the highway advertisements for that store like Lion's Den where they have adult products. I'm like, why are you naming it after lions? They're ferocious, but they're not really particularly great at reproducing. It should be named after rabbits. Who? Am I wrong? I mean, if it's a sexual thing, I would think rabbits, not lions. If you know anything.
I don't know if their goal is reproduction.
That's true, but even doing that, I don't know if you saw that video from the Thailand with the rabbit basically attacking a cat without consent, but that was making the rounds. Well, anyhow.
You know that rabbits, after they do the business,
Yeah.
they pass out. The male passes out.
Well, that's a lot of males of a lot of species. I mean, I'm not going to add anything personal about this here, but yeah, and then he's probably ready to go in another 2 hours, right? From what I understand about.
2 seconds.
Oh, it's a very quick thing. What are the rabbits like? I mean, are they interesting animals? Because I have friends who've grown up in farms in Virginia, and I said, pigs are very interesting, cows are not.
The rabbits, like the moms, eat their young all the time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Wait, but they're
I feel
not
like that-
carnivorous at all, I thought.
No, but it's pretty normal for rodents. If they feel like stressed out or they're hungry.
Mineral fishes.
They actually will eat other rabbits?
Their own babies.
Really?
Yeah, they're baby. Not like big rabbits.
I had a situation, I don't know if you've been out to Nevada, there's the road, I forget what it is, US something up north, not anywhere near Vegas, where it's known as the loneliest road in the US, and I drove it at night, and the jackrabbits have no fear, and nor do they get off the highway in time. It's like playing Frogger. It really is insane. Anyhow, final words, any thoughts besides eating more vegetables, because it's getting too dark for this. Okay, tell us your school's name and website if people want to see interesting information about sustainable farming.
Go to echocommunity.org.
Echocommunity.org?
EchoNet.
Or EchoNet.
Okay, thanks for talking to me today.
God bless.
See ya.